Mark 6, 7 and 8. Que periengen tas comas kuklo didaskon. Que is and. Periengen is an imperfect active indicative verb, third person singular, from periago, which means I travel around. Tas comas, feminine accusative plural, from kome, village. Kuklo is an adverb. It means neighboring. Didaskon is present active participle, masculine nominative singular, from didasko, which means teach. So the whole phrase would be and. Periengen is he began to travel around, or he was traveling around. Tas comas kuklo, the neighboring villages. Didaskon, teaching. He began to travel around the surrounding or neighboring villages, teaching. The next sentence, ke proskeletai tous dodeka, ke exato autus apostelein duo, ke edidu autois exousian ton pneumaton ton akatarton. The word meanings. Ke proskeletai. Proskeletai is present middle indicative, third person singular. It comes from proskeliomai, which means I summon. What we need to do is just first look at the ending. Etai. Proskeletai. Etai. Etai, we know it is omai etai. So it is middle and it is third singular. Omai etai. Omai is first singular. A is second singular. Etai is third singular. So now we know it is middle indicative, and whether it is present or past, we only need to know whether there is any augment or there is a sir added to the ending. In this case, neither are there, and the verb's root is used as it is without changing form. Therefore, it must be present. So this is verb present, middle indicative, third person singular. As I said, first we begin with whether it is middle endings, passive endings, or active endings, and then we look at the person and number based on the ending. And after that, we can, by examining the stem of the word, whether it has been changed or not, we can know whether it is present or past, like aorist or imperfect. And based on the additions, we can know whether it is aorist, imperfect, or future tense. So this is for all the indicative verbs. So here we have K proskeletai. Proskeletai is present, middle, indicative, third, singular. So there is a way to write this. First we have to write the time sense, whether it's present or past or aorist or imperfect or whatever it is. And then active, middle, or passive. And after that, indicative, imperative, subjunctive, whatever the mood is. And then the person and gender. Gender is not true, like person and number. So here this is present, middle, indicative, third, singular. And it's translated as he is summoning, the literal translation. And he is summoning tous dodeca. Dodeca is an indeclinable numeral. K ergzato. Tous dodeca. Dodeca means 12. The 12. K is again and. Ergzato is an aorist, middle indicative, third person singular, which comes from arkomai, which means I begin. So, and because it is aorist, we will translate it in the past tense, and he began. So this is how the whole phrase would go. K proskeletai tous dodeca, K ergzato. And he's summoning the 12 and began. So we know that the present tense, when Mark uses it, he uses it in a present continuous form. It is a narrative form. It could be translated into English as past tense, depending upon the sentence's whole tense. Therefore, you find in many translations, and he summoned or he called upon. It will not be he summoning, he summoned. That particular present continuous is a feature of Mark, and it has significance. And he summoned the 12, and he began. Autos apostolein duo, K edidu autois. Here duo is 2 by 2. It's distributive. And autos is them, accusative form of auto. So duo autos, them 2 by 2. What is the verb? Apostolein. Apostolein is present active infinitive. The ein ending is infinitive, ein psi. Present infinitive is ein, and aorist infinitive is psi. So apostolein is present active infinitive. It's active, not deponent or middle. There the ending would change, estai, sastai, like that. Here it is ein or sas, depending upon present or aorist. In this particular word, it is ein. So present active indicative. It comes from apostolo, the word apostolo, which means to send out. So here it is to send out. The whole phrase would be to send them out 2 by 2. K edidu autois. Edidu is imperfect active indicative, third singular, from didomi. Didomi means I give. It's a me verb. That's why there is a difference in the ending. Edidu. Edidu appears quite a few times. So if you can just remember this imperfect of the me verb, it would be quite helpful. Imperfect, active indicative, third singular. So imperfect we will translate as he began to, he used to, or he was. So here it will be, the most suitable one will be he was giving. He was giving. Autois exousian. Exousia means authority, and here because it's in the object case, it is in the accusative, feminine accusative, singular. Exousian means authority. Autois, to them. It's plural dative of auto. So K edidu autois exousian, and he was giving them authority, or he was giving authority to them. Ton pneumaton, ton akatar ton. Now the whole phrase here, the ton pneumaton, ton akatar ton, would be over the unclean spirits. Pneumaton and akataton both are genitive plural, both are neuter genitive plural. One is a noun and the other is an adjective. Pneumaton is a noun and akataton is adjective. Pneumaton comes from pneumatos, tos. Akatarton comes from akatartos. Pneuma, pneumatos, akatartos. Like that. Like we have to add that genitive singular also to make it clear that how these particular words decline. So the word will be over the unclean spirits. These are nouns in apposition, and subordination is the purpose of using these in genitives. The genitive of subordination. He gave them authority over the unclean spirits, not of the unclean spirits, but over the unclean spirits. So pneumaton and akataton are in apposition, unclean spirits, and the whole thing, like the ton, pneumaton, ton, akatarton, its relationship with the previous phrase, like he was giving them authority, is a genitive of subordination. So he was giving authority to them. So this is now connected to the authority over the unclean spirits. So the connection between exousian and ton pneumaton is of subordination. That's why ton pneumaton is a genitive of subordination, and so the whole genitive clause, like the ton pneumaton, ton akaton, akarta ton, is a genitive of subordination. So this is how these two sentences would be translated. And he was traveling around the surrounding villages teaching, and he summoned the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2, and was giving them authority over the unclean spirits. I'm only giving you the literal translation. You can refer all the other translations to find out which one would suit your interpretation of the text and translate it accordingly. God bless you.